Woke up at 4:15 this morning, 68 degrees. I haven't showered. All I've had is a little water, and it's a supermoon. Well, there will be some lunacy. Don't you worry. Now it's about probably almost 6, but the theme is 4 in the morning. We're all about themes here, so 4 in the morning. The more I thought about it, college was actually the darkest part of my life, easily. It didn't help that it took me so long to get through and kind of drug it out. So it spanned a good portion of my teenage to young adult years, which really are some of the hardest years of your life. I would say that probably your 20s is the worst, and then things start leveling out as you get to 30, and that's where I'm at now. The more I thought about this topic, I kept thinking of more and more dark stuff that happened. I was thinking it'd be a little more lighthearted and fun, but I don't think that's gonna be the case. Maybe a little, we'll see. A little ASMR for you. I was always an anxious kid. I used to be way worse with social anxiety and stuff. Now sometimes I'm almost like borderline sociopathic. Life has a way of doing that to you. I remember sometimes being around like large groups of people, I would hear someone in the distance, and it was like your mind filling in gaps to where sometimes I would think people are laughing at me, or I'd catch a word and I'm like, are they talking about me? So in addition to the lunacy, I may have some slight schizophrenia. Anyways, that really stopped a long time ago. I don't really know nutritional, just growing up or what, brain changes. But yeah, in college though, things were really bad with anxiety, being around all these people, and then a learning environment. And I guess I'm one of those people, my ego sometimes is a little wrapped up in education and scores and all that. But I did really well. I mean, I got a 4.0 on my associates. I was like a point something below the highest honors with the bachelor's. And I love that I'm an associate. Spend 2 years getting a degree. It's like, well, you're associated with us. Thousands of dollars later. And then bachelor, what does that mean? You're not married? Higher education. But yeah, it was really bad. It freaked me out, especially having to be at campus sometimes for like hours and hours and hours. Sometimes I'd actually walk all the way back to my truck and park like a mile away and just like listen to music, podcasts. And one campus is by the water, so I park facing the ocean. And I'd do all that stuff, and actually sometimes I would write on my phone, and that's how I got into writing. Now I've written 2 books, a bunch of short stories. I'm gonna be famous real soon, don't worry about it. Yeah. And also going to the library, there are these really benches, but kind of little sitting areas linked together between the bookshelves. That was pretty cool. I found that out. I didn't even know that was there for a while. So yeah, sometimes you got to do what works. Find what works for you. Read a little Animal Farm. That was a really memorable experience in my truck and then in the library. I met some girls. had a lolly girlfriend. Baka. Okay, she wasn't my girlfriend. We went on a couple dates. I'm not really into that aesthetic for obvious reasons, but she was 18. Just kind of happened. We didn't really ever connect. And I think she had some demons herself. Some of the stuff she would bring up was kind of weird. She really wanted me, but I wasn't really into her. And she'd bring up stuff like people where she worked would like be checking out and, oh, I looked at their phone, they were looking at porn, or something about her, hope this skirt doesn't blow up or something, like Marilyn Monroe. Anyways, I wasn't really into her. So just never really connected, just kind of let things die, ghosted her. Sorry. That was kind of a weird experience. I met this other girl who's Indian. We just kind of hung out, and that was actually really nice. I met her at both colleges. Met her at the community colleges. Is a great way to save money, by the way. Just get your associates at a community college. Forget this prestige nonsense. Unless you're going for some really high level, I mean, they don't even care about your GPA. I have a great GPA. No one even seemed to notice. Obviously, details matter, context matters. But she was super smart, and we were both like taking accounting classes, and then I ended up going through it. That I just kind of chose that because it made sense. Other things didn't work out. My finance class was a disaster. The professor was terrible, but he said he wouldn't give anyone anything below a B minus, so I probably made really like a D in that class. But I got a B. B for best. You thought it was A, didn't you? We didn't really connect, and I mean, to be honest, there was a bit of a language barrier. Not disparaging her, she spoke really good English overall. It barely had an accent, very smart, but she was cute. Like, for some reason, I always end up with like super skinny, short girls. Leaning to the lolly mention earlier, don't hold it against me. I was just a young buck. I really find that pretty disgusting, but I've always been into the opposite. But like I said, women who look like women, but always end up with these short, skinny girls for some reason. But yeah, that was actually quite a bit of solace to like go to my first class at the next university, and she was there. It was very comforting. We'd sit together and stuff. Yeah. Looks like we got an intruder. I don't know if you can hear this. Oh, well, later. I mean, I'll take care of him later. Yeah, that was nice. And actually, it was during college, I was dealing with a lot of anxiety, depression, like freaking out about stuff that I realized didn't even matter now, like harkening back to the GPA stuff. And then that's when I did drugs for the first time. Don't do drugs, kids. I mean, honestly, especially if you've never been involved with someone, you never drank, you never did drugs, like, you're out on your own, especially you're living on a campus somewhere. Don't be getting into that stuff. I mean, you're still very much a kid in some ways, especially you Gen Zers and Gen Alpha. This video will be a landmark forever. Like, that's not the time to be experimenting. You really shouldn't be doing a lot of that anyways. I mean, sleeping with strangers is very unfulfilling, and awkward, weird, really, anyways. And usually alcohol and drugs are involved for a reason, because it's not really a natural thing. It's dangerous waters. I was very angry at myself, and I took a bunch of pills. Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's right or moral or whatever. You could, I guess, come to your own value judgments on that. But it was pretty crazy. My eyes looked insane this first time seeing them like that. And I remember, though, there were small positives that I guess somewhat turned into negatives. I was just like scrolling through Facebook, I had like this overwhelming sense like I needed to connect with someone. Let's get some BPA-free Ubermensch water here. This isn't alcohol, don't drink, kids. I haven't had anything to eat. It's a nice, cool 68 degrees. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. This stuff was really toxic, so it's like having to go to the bathroom constantly. My heart would race when I get up. But when I'd lay down, I couldn't feel it beating. So I thought, and it made me really sleepy, made me throw up. I think the first time, I went through like 2 or 3 times. I think they were spaced out quite a bit too. And I thought I was gonna go to sleep, my heart was gonna stop, I was gonna die. So I'm like falling asleep. I'm hearing voices was the main thing. And I think I was visualizing myself. I saw like this stairway, like this a little grimy, not too much, maybe kind of like gray, white, painted walls, painted over brick or something. And I heard like these like people speaking in really gibberish, but it sounded like unknown languages. And there was like this little kid like laughing. That was the one that really like jumped out. I don't remember if it was kind of imagining or tapping into like not really souls that had passed, but maybe their essence that's left behind, or like a quantum physics. This is a very scientific channel, by the way. Kind of like something left behind, like it's still happening in another dimension or something. You know. But yeah, I guess that's the extent of that. But I thought I was gonna go to sleep and my heart would stop. Falling asleep, being like, God, I don't even remember now. It was a pretty monumental moment. I don't remember the exact words, thoughts. You can think words, right? Some people don't. That's pretty crazy to look into that. I forget what they call it. And I was like, basically just like, God, like this, let me wake up. Let me make it through the night. It may have been that. Just take me through the night. Help me to make it through. So yeah, don't do drugs. I drank more, but I don't think I've ever actually been drunk. Alcohol never did anything for me. So it was just like a little experiment. For some reason, one time I was gonna think through this situation. And I'm like, looking back, you're gonna drink and try to think through something. I don't know what I was thinking. This is some good old pop punk, emo stuff. Listening to some music, I don't remember what else. In this video, this just evolved into vocal fry. I'm trying to hydrate. But yeah, I really don't recommend that stuff no matter what your worldview is. And during that time, like, I had started telling people after that. It was kind of a pivotal moment to connect with people and try to work through stuff that I was dealing with that's kind of, I guess, medicating, escaping, punishing for. Positive things happened, some negative. Eventually my family found out about like some of the stuff I was going through, and it was ultimately beneficial. Still don't really recommend that. It's really like those experiences. I've heard other people say stuff like it's just ultimately meaningless just because you have a cool little trip story, something surreal happened. I mean, my dreams and lucid dreams are a lot crazier than that, so I mean, what was it really worth? Probably did some brain damage. I mean, not really. Obviously not. What's the topic of this? At college. I guess I'd say if you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, like a lot of people think you actually will grow out of it just as you live more life. And college is better than high school. Like people don't give a crap who you are. They don't know who you are. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, and then even people maybe you see, I mean, you may never see them again, see them in a couple classes, especially doing basics. Well, I guess you could still cross paths, but of course, bigger schools, when we're smaller, you gotta find what works for you. If you have to, I guess just zone out with music or realize that it's really still not a huge deal for most people. You can always work something out, and honestly, I mean, a lot of people don't belong at college. I know now it's required. And this applies to a lot of things in life. You gotta know who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and this is a good time to figure some of that out. I would be honest with yourself, like find something that works with your mind. You know, are you a detail person, or are you this, that? You may want to just work with your hands. There's nothing wrong with learning a trade or a skill, like at all. You can make actually way more money in a lot of cases. I mean, just going to refineries, electrician, whatever, truck driver, like for real. That's good for you if you got a lot of anxiety, right? I'm afraid a lot of people don't have a lot of business being there, and especially community college, like halfway through the semester, like the first, I don't even remember, I barely had midterms. That was kind of funny. I didn't have them till I got my bachelor, but people just dropped. Like you couldn't find any parking, then you could park anywhere you wanted. So I mean, and that's all, you know, we're paying for taxes. A lot of people never even get out of the community college. So some survival tips. Well, you do have to take care of yourself. You gotta eat, drink, sleep. Maybe find friends, make friends. Be careful who you connect with, but if that actually makes things worse for you, you may not want to actually work with that. I don't know. Maybe just connect more people you're close to outside of school, family, friends. I guess you can make some online, but be careful. There's some weirdos out there. It also helps just in life period to do something you truly enjoy, like that feels like almost like an energy welling up within your soul. And that outlet was really big for me. I had a garage cover band at the time with some of my friends that was very cathartic, very releasing. And then found writing. Writing was a big thing for me, really getting like peace in my life, where I was like hung up on relationships and finding a girl. I'm actually would be content like never getting married and never being in a relationship again. I could live with that, definitely. You gotta find a passion and purpose. It'll be something different for everybody. And you just gotta stick with it or keep searching. Yeah, I guess that's good enough.